Imoni lived in the small village of Ulu, where everyone knew her as the best dancer. From the time she could walk, she loved to dance. Her feet moved with the rhythm of her heart, and she felt alive with every step. The villagers smiled when they saw her, saying, "Imoni has the spirit of joy in her feet." But there was something strange about Imoni's dancing that no one else knew. It all began one evening, when she was 12 years old. She danced alone under the setting sun, her feet moving in a whirlwind of spins and jumps. As she twirled and leaped, something unexpected happened. Her feet began to glow softly, as if tiny stars were sparking to life around her. At first, Imoni thought it was just her imagination. She blinked and continued to dance, but the lights grew brighter. Flames of golden fire danced around her feet, swirling but never burning. Startled, she stopped, and the flames disappeared as quickly as they had come. Imoni was confused but amazed. She looked around, making sure no one had seen her. "What is happening?" she whispered to herself. Scared to tell anyone, she decided to keep it a secret. She didn't want anyone to think she was strange. Instead, she began to sneak into the forest to practice alone. The fire would appear every time she danced, growing stronger and brighter with each step. The flames seemed to move with her, as if they were a part of her dance. Days turned into weeks, and Imoni's secret remained safe. But deep down, she felt the weight of the growing fire inside her. She feared that one day she wouldn't be able to control it. Then came the day of the harvest festival, a time when the whole village gathered to celebrate the bountiful crops. Imoni's mother, Juma, asked her to perform at the festival. The village always looked forward to seeing Imoni dance, and this year was no different. Imoni hesitated, afraid of what might happen if she danced in front of everyone. But how could she say no? The whole village was counting on her to bring joy to the festival. So, she agreed, though fear tugged at her heart. As the sun set and the drums began to beat, Imoni stepped into the center of the gathering. She moved gracefully, her feet gliding over the earth as the crowd cheered. But as she danced, she felt the familiar heat rising in her legs. The fire was coming, and this time, she couldn't stop it. Flames burst from her feet, swirling through the air like fiery ribbons. The crowd gasped, some people screamed and backed away in fear. "Witchcraft," one of the village elders shouted, pointing at her. Imoni froze, her heart racing, but the flames continued to swirl around her. Panicked, she stopped dancing, and the flames vanished. But the damage was done. The villagers stared at her with wide eyes, and whispers of fear rippled through the crowd. Imoni's mother ran to her side, shielding her from the angry mamas. "She is not a witch," Juma cried, though even she looked uncertain. That night, Imoni lay in bed, tears streaming down her face. She couldn't understand why this had happened to her. She hadn't asked for this power, and now it was tearing her world apart. The next day, Imoni went deep into the forest, where she could dance without fear of being seen. She moved slowly at first, but soon the fire appeared again, swirling around her feet. As the flames danced, she heard a voice, soft but clear. "You cannot control it forever," the voice said. Imoni stopped, looking around. "Who's there?" she called, but no one answered. The voice haunted her each time she danced. "You cannot control it forever," it whispered, a warning that filled her with dread. Imoni didn't know what to do. She had always found joy in dancing, but now, the fire made it dangerous. She was terrified of hurting someone or being cast out by the villagers. Desperate for answers, she turned to her best friend, Lomi. When Imoni told Lomi about the fire, her friend's eyes widened in shock. "Fire? From your feet? How is that possible?" "I don't know," Imoni said, her voice trembling. "But I can't stop it. The more I dance, the stronger it gets." Lomi thought for a moment, then took Imani's hand. Maybe it's a gift, she said gently. Maybe you're meant to do something great with it. But what if I had someone? Imani whispered. Lomi squeezed her hand. We'll figure it out together. The two friends spent days searching for answers. They asked the elders if they had heard of anyone with powers like Imani's, but no one knew. They scoured old village stories, hoping for a clue, but found nothing. Imani felt more lost than ever. One evening, as they sat by the river, watching the sunset, a stranger appeared. He was tall, with eyes that seemed to glow like embers. You are the one with fire in your feet, he said, his voice low and calm. Imani stood up quickly. Who are you? How do you know about me? The man smiled kindly. My name is Baba Kuno. I have been watching you for some time, Imani. Your power is rare, but it is also dangerous. Imani's heart pounded. I didn't ask for it. I know, Baba Kuno said, his expression softening. But it is yours now. And if you do not learn to control it, it will control you. Imani's fear grew. What do I do? You must travel to the mountain of fire, Baba Kuno said. Only there can you learn to master your power. Lomi stepped in front of Imani, protective. The mountain of fire. No one ever returns from there. How do we know we can trust you? Baba Kuno's eyes darkened, but his voice remained calm. It is the only way. The spirit of the flame resides there. It will teach Imani how to control the fire before it consumes her and everyone she loves. Imani's heart sank. She didn't want to go, but deep down, she knew Baba Kuno was right. The fire inside her was growing stronger, and soon it would be beyond her control. I have to go, Imani said softly, looking at Lomi. No, Imani, it's too dangerous. Lomi said, her voice breaking with worry. Imani shook her head. If I don't go, the fire will destroy everything. Lomi wiped away tears. Then I'm going with you. The next morning, Imani and Lomi set out on their journey, with Baba Kuno leading the way. The road was long and difficult, and the air grew hotter the closer they got to the mountain. Imani could feel the fire pulsing inside her, growing stronger with each step. As they climbed higher, strange things began to happen. The wind whispered Imani's name, and shadows danced in the corners of her vision. She felt the fire inside her responding to the mountain's energy, and it scared her. On the third night, they were attacked by shadowy creatures, their eyes glowing with fiery light. Baba Kuno fought them off with a glowing staff, but Imani knew they were drawn to her power. They can sense the fire in you, Baba Kuno said gravely. It calls to them. Imani's fear grew. She couldn't let the fire consume her. The next day, they finally reached the base of the mountain of fire. The air was thick with heat, and flames licked the rocks like living things. Imani could feel the fire inside her burning hotter than ever. This is where your journey truly begins, Baba Kuno said. You must face the spirit of the flame and prove that you are worthy of controlling your power. Imani nodded, her heart pounding with fear and determination. She stepped forward, her feet glowing with fire, ready to face the greatest challenge of her life. As she walked toward the fiery peak, the flames around her feet began to rise, swelling higher and higher until they formed a circle of fire around her. Imani felt the heat pressing in on her, but she pushed forward, determined to master her power. Suddenly, a roar echoed from deep within the mountain. The ground shook, and a massive figure made of fire emerged from the flames. It was the spirit of the flame, its eyes glowing with ancient power. Who dares to walk upon my mountain? The spirit boomed. The fire dancer, Imani. Imani's legs trembled, but she stood tall. I am Imani of Ulu, she said, her voice steady. I seek to control the fire within me. The spirit's eyes narrowed. The fire is not yours to control, it said. It is a force of nature, wild and untamed. Imani's heart raced, but she remembered Baba Kono's words. I do not wish to control it for power, she said. I only want to protect the ones I love. The spirit studied her for a long moment, its fiery form flickering in the wind. Finally, it spoke. Very well, Imani of Ulu. But know this, the fire is not something to be tamed. It is something to be respected. With those words, the spirit vanished, leaving Imani standing alone in the circle of flames. The fire inside her burned brighter than ever, but for the first time, she felt at peace with it. Imani turned and walked back down the mountain, the fire swirling around her like a loyal companion.